All right, devoid of having my San Diego Padres hat on, it should be in this drawer right here, and it's not. So, San Diego Chargers. It's San Diego Chargers at the time I bought it. They were not the LA Chargers. It doesn't say San Diego or on the hat, but you'll just have to take my word for it. The San Diego Padres tonight did it. And you know what's amazing is that they set a Major League Baseball record. It's not a playoff record. It's just a record. 9 different pitchers used in a shutout. Had to be frustrating for the Cardinals. And, you know, in this day and age where now pitchers are just used in this manner, it worked. So it's not the prettiest of shutouts, and it makes you nervous. It makes you nervous every time a new guy comes in that you're like, man, we got things going. I don't know, or the other switch of pitchers again. Okie dokie, but they did it. Now, as a Padres fan, I am ready for them to lose. I'm saying straight out, doesn't matter what sport I'm watching, a team I'm cheering for, I'm getting ready for a loss. I mean, I button this up right to the top, get all ready for a loss. I got the brand new jersey. I still don't have the fryer on here, but I've got the patch. Just Yvonne hasn't sewn it on yet. And you don't get on somebody about sewing on patches, or else you don't get patches. You get them thrown at you. So, and rightfully so, right? So this is the first time they've won anything in a while. 2006 in the National League Divisional Series, they lost in 4, so 3-1 to St. Louis. Prior to that, 2005, they lost in 3 straight to St. Louis. So, seeing St. Louis against the Padres, you can understand why after Game 1 I went, that's it. It's St. Louis, this is how it works. 1998, San Diego went to the World Series, and the Yankees swept them. I didn't like the Yankees before the sweep. That just made it worse. And that was the last year that San Diego had won a round. The Padres just don't win playoff games. Now, Fernando Tatis is a very special talent, and we saw him with an absolutely beautiful defensive grab in the 8th inning. This kid's going to be special, and at some point I'll probably want a Tatis jersey. I'm considering getting a couple of San Diego. I want a brown San Diego throwback to the one they had in the early 80s, and it would be nice to have, you know, the one they had in the late 80s, early 90s as well. I really liked it when they went to those navy jerseys. I did. But, you know, and that was when they had some of their success, was when they wore blue. 1996 National League Divisional Series, and they lost to St. Louis in 3. So, yeah. And then 1984, they made it to the World Series and lost to the Detroit Tigers in 5. I've never seen this team win anything. They were founded in 1969, didn't make the playoffs till 1984, and as a Padres fan that year, I was excited for them. Keep in mind that when I was a kid, I watched baseball about as much as I watched hockey. They didn't really intersect with each other too much. You, of course, have your playoffs in October if you're baseball, and your season starts in April. So I was able to find time to watch both without much trouble. And so I picked a team in the AL, which became, you know, it moved. I mean, Detroit, I liked the Tigers for a while there. I did like the Blue Jays, and the Boston Red Sox as well. At this point, it really is the Padres for me. I mean, I like the Red Sox, and I like certain baseball teams, and I love the A's for what they've been able to do on a small budget. But the Padres are that's my team. That's the one. They are the only Major League Baseball team with no hitters, none. And when I saw that tonight, I thought, that makes sense. I can't think of a pitcher that's got over the hump for them. And it's weird with them with pitching. They've only got one pitcher who's had 100 wins as a member of the Padres, and he had exactly 100, and that's Eric Show. Show was a good pitcher, not fantastic, and it's spelled S-H-O-W. I remember it being pronounced Show, so I'm saying Show. But coming into this best-of-3 series against St. Louis, they were 1-9 against St. Louis in playoff series. So I did not expect after Game 1 to be here after Game 3 talking about the Padres going into the next round. Now, I get asked, okay, so what made you cheer for the Padres? So I'm going to put this in here. Trevor Hoffman, when he would come out of the bullpen and they would play Hell's Bells, I got chills every time. Hoffman would come into the game and I'd be like, all right, that's it. We're done. We got her. And Hoffman was a part of the Padres when they were pretty good. When this was a team that wasn't just some run-of-the-mill losing franchise, Hoffman was the guy. Probably my favorite closer ever. All apologies to Mariano Rivera, but he wore Yankees pinstripes. Can't be my favorite. I would say probably as a second, I want to say Dwayne Ward, because when Tom Henke left, Ward showed that he could be a closer on his own. There have been numerous closers. I've always been more a fan of pitchers than of the batters. And so it's part of the reason why in the late 80s I really adopted the Atlanta Braves as well, because their pitching was fantastic. Now, Tony Gwynn was a huge part of me being a fan of the Padres, because he just seemed like a great guy. He always seemed like a great guy, and he hit all over the field, and he was very consistent year in and year out. And of course, Steve Garvey, who was on This Week in Baseball. And as a kid, you watch This Week in Baseball, you can learn things about the baseball game. Interestingly enough, the Friar is the official mascot for the Padres. And when I was putting stuff on the board for this and looking stuff up, San Diego Chicken was never actually their mascot. The chicken was never the San Diego Padres mascot. And yet I remember him as the San Diego Chicken. And that was part of the reason I cheered for the Padres as a kid too, was because I thought their mascot was cool. And so there were a lot of things that attracted me to the Padres. And again, it's because I was a little kid and I was looking for a team to cheer for. I thought Padres sounded... I've always liked the name Padres. It sounds different than everything else in sports. And, their colors were different than almost everything else in sports at the time. So, kind of fun. Now, for the Padres, it does not get easier. Getting St. Louis out, great. That's great. You guys used 9 pitchers tonight. You don't have to play again until Tuesday. And your pitchers are going to be completely well rested. But it gets a lot harder. So on Monday, Houston will play Oakland. I expect Oakland to lose that series because I can't have nice things. Houston took out the Twins because the Twins aren't allowed to win a playoff game. And I expect Houston to take care of Oakland. We've got the Yankees and Tampa Bay. I expect the Yankees to win that. I want Tampa to win. Don't get me wrong. I would love no story better than the Tampa Bay Rays taking out the free-spending Yankees. I just don't see it happening. Tuesday, Miami, after upsetting the Chicago Cubs, get to play the Atlanta Braves. Do not take Miami for granted. I think what I like with the Miami is the fact that they were referred to as bottom feeders by a Philadelphia press member, and they owned it. So now they've got Miami bottom feeders t-shirts, and when I saw those at the game today, I thought, I wouldn't mind one of those t-shirts. That's really fun. I love it when a team owns it. The Canucks did that this season with Drew Doughty saying we can't lose to a team like that. So there were Canucks t-shirts that said team like that. And right now in the Canucks team store, they're $10 because the season's over, so that reference has become dated. So if I get the bottom feeders shirt, it might be ironic because the Marlins traditionally will have a good year like this and follow it up with just awfulness. So Miami bottom feeders could work next year. Absolutely could. And then for San Diego, their reward, if you want to call it that, is now they get to play the LA Dodgers. And because of the bubble setup that's going on, they can't really celebrate this win tonight because there's no locker room for them to celebrate it in. The clubhouses are being moved into by the teams that are getting ready for the next round. So... we'll see how things go for San Diego, and I think it's good that the team can't really have a big celebration tonight. I do. There's nothing that makes me more aggravated when I'm watching baseball, and after a wild card win, which is just the one win and you're in, or National League or American League Divisional Series, you'll see a team have a huge champagne celebration, and teams all screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering, and all I think is, you guys haven't won anything yet. You've got 2 more rounds. Put the champagne away, towel dry yourselves off, find some dignity, and knock it off. Because you've got a lot of work to do. 9 straight losing seasons for the San Diego Padres before this year. So last year they were supposed to get better, and they didn't. In fact, they'd lost 90 or more games. I think it's 4 years in a row, 5 years in a row, 3 years in a row. It's embarrassing. But this year it finally all came together. And it looks like they've got a good young nucleus coming through. and they're able to manage their pitchers. So even though some big names didn't play this series for San Diego, and as soon as I saw that, I'm like, well, without those guys, they're probably done. And then game one, St. Louis made it look kind of easy, and I thought, okay, so San Diego's done. It's a shame, but injuries going on. It's 2020, so that's fine. But we'll see. We'll see just how far this team can go, whether or not San Diego can finally win something. As a fan of both the Chargers and the Padres, it's frustrating. And I'm not sure exactly why I find myself cheering for teams that, in this case, is still in San Diego, and in this case, this one's moved to LA. But, I kind of adopted San Diego as my city as a kid. And if they had a hockey team in the National Hockey League, I am sure they would probably have ended up in my top 3. If they'd had a San Diego Gulls in the NHL when I was a kid in, say, 1981-82, I would have ended up being a huge fan of their NHL team as well. I would have said, you know what? I cheer for their baseball team, their football team. Bring on their hockey team. Yeah, so there you go. Let me know what you guys think. Who's going to win the World Series? Again, for me, I'm not going to bet against the Yankees because I can't have nice things. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Dodgers and the Yankees, to be completely honest. If it was up to me, if I could kapow from the clouds as a baseball god, I would have Oakland and San Diego, and I don't know that anybody would watch it other than people in California, but that would be the matchup I'd get. I also do not rule out seeing Houston go to the World Series because everybody hates Houston this year. But on the other side of that, the flip side of that is something simple. Houston, knowing that everybody hates them, knowing that they're viewed as cheaters, they may very well be motivated to prove they can win one without any kind of symbol crashing of trash can lids. So don't underestimate that either. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.